Hello, artists. Today I am going to talk to you about the history of the color wheel so that we can create our own color wheel. You will learn who created the color wheels, what did these color wheels look like, what is the difference between light and paint colors when they mix, and then you will create your own unique color wheel design in a Google drawing. Who invented the first color wheel? Scientists invented them. The first one was created by Sir Isaac Newton. In the 17th century, Newton discovered that light reflected through a prism created a spectrum of colors. So what did some of these color wheel designs look like? So Newton's color wheel was created in 1704, and it looks like this one on the right. It kind of looks like a donut that has some markings on it, like the names of the colors, and it's broken down into cross complements. So red across from green, yellow across from purple, blue across from orange. And then Goethe came along and he also created a color wheel, but his actually doesn't have any color in it. It's just labeled with text. Who else created color wheel designs? This one is by Ignaz Schiffer and it was created in 1772. And you can see how he also has this spectrum where it blends from one hue to the next. The hues are labeled, but it's also decorated on this beautiful drawing illustration around the edges with these floral, romantic, Romanesque kind of designs going around the edge. You can even see that there's somebody that looks like they're practicing some science, getting the light reflected through a prism and showing the spectral hues. Also, there is a rainbow in the design, showing that all of the colors can be presented through the rainbow. Who else created color wheel designs? So Philip Otto Runge in 1807 created this Farbenkugel sphere design, and so his idea was inspired by a ball of light, and the top view would have the light, the bottom he would have the dark, so the tints versus the shades, and then slices taken through the center would look like this, where the pure colors are around the edges, and they go down into kind of a more muted tone, and then a section taken through the center vertically might look like this, showing the colors across from each other on the color wheel, those complements, and how when they get mixed together in the center, they become a muted neutral, and then each hue's chroma turning darker to a shade. Who else created color wheel designs? Henry E. Roscoe in 1868. He was also a scientist, and he wanted to show how light emitted by various burning metals could be split into its component colors. So this was the table that he created, showing different burning metals and what colors were visible. Who else created color wheel designs? This one's a little bit more recent. It's by Albert Munsell, and this is the color tree system. It's a color system that has value in the center from lightest to darkest, hues around the outside edge, and then chroma, the intensity of the color from the center neutral out to the outer edge of the hue, the pure hue. Who else created color wheel designs? This one is created by a contemporary artist. His name is Stephen Quiller. He's still alive today. He was born in 1946. He created the Quiller wheel to assist with pigmented paint mixing. So especially with watercolor paints, you could go to the store and you can buy so many different variety of watercolor paints, and you need to know where those colors fall on the color scale, this Quiller wheel, so that you can think about creating intensity and cross-complementary colors using this wheel, because there's so many different shades of red and orange. There's quinacridone red, there's cadmium purple, there's cadmium deep red, permanent red medium. You need to know each one of these colors is made with pigments. They're all red, but they're made with different pigments, and we want to know where those colors sit on this color wheel. So that's created by contemporary artist Stephen Quiller. So how does paint mix on paper? So if you have the three primary colors, primary red, primary yellow, and primary blue, when you mix a primary and a primary, you get a secondary color. So primary red plus primary yellow equals secondary orange. Primary red, primary blue makes secondary violet. Primary yellow, primary blue makes a secondary green. Now you could take a primary blue and a secondary green and you can create a tertiary blue-green. You can make tertiary colors by mixing a primary and a secondary color to get that intermediate in-between color. So red-violet, blue-violet, blue-green, yellow-green, yellow-orange, red-orange. But with paint, when you mix all of the colors together, so the three primaries, if you mix red, yellow, and blue together, you'll get a muddy color, a neutral color, or a brown. Light and paint work a little bit differently. Light is an additive system. So you want to think about the absence of light being black. So that's why this one is in a black square. If you've ever done stage theater, you've seen they have these colored lights, and when you take the different colored lights and you put them all together, you'll get bright white. So when colors of light are added together, they become brighter, closer to a white light. So you can see how colors of light interact differently than paint colors. Paint is a subtractive system, so we want to think that light reflected on a surface, that's how we see colors. When colors of paint are mixed, they become darker. So like I said before, if you mix red, yellow, and blue paint, you'll get a neutral, you'll get a brown, muddy color, or even black. So now that you know about some different color wheel designs and some top scientists who created them, I want to know, what design do you think is the most visually effective? And then we got to start thinking about, how will you create your own color wheel? I'm going to ask that you do it in Google Drawing. I want you to think about transparent and overlapping colors. So I'm going to show you in the next slide how you can create transparent colors in Google Drawing. So when you open up the fill color tool in Google Drawing, the little paint bucket, you'll want to click on the custom button. Once you click on the custom button, you'll see this new dialog box. You're going to want to drag the transparency slider towards the center to have a fill color that is transparent, so you can show how two hues will mix by making shapes like these circles overlapping with transparent colors. Here's a design that I found online that is a color wheel, a unique design. In the center, it shows neutrals. It shows light, medium, and dark gray. It also shows the pure hues, those pure chromas. And then on the outer circles, each one of the figures has a tint and a shade of that pure hue. They're also showing cross complementary colors because the red character is next to the green hues. Here's another design that I found online that is a geometric color wheel design. It shows pie slice designs. Each slice shows many tints. It shows the pure hue, and as we get closer to the center, it gets closer to the color white. Here's another geometric color wheel design. It shows in the center 6 hues, and then in this midpoint here, it shows primary, secondary, and tertiary. So we have the primaries red, yellow, and blue in that triangular formation. And in the other triangular formation, we have the secondary colors orange, green, and violet. And the outer edge shows a cross complementary contrast. So red and green, blue and orange going across the color wheel. So we have some orange and blue across from orange and blue, red and green across from red and green. So this is another example of a geometric color wheel. Now it's your time to design your own color wheel. I know you can do this, so get started on your own design.